Mike Ashley is the quiet and shy billionaire founder of the Frasers Group, a retail empire spanning sport, department stores, and budget brands. Ashley has built the group from Sports Direct, the jewel in his empire, to own a number of other brands, including Jack Wills, Slazenger, and House of Fraser. The group is one of the largest retailers in the world, employing 20,000 people and achieving annual revenues of just under £4 billion. According to research, the company's vast holdings that range from gyms to sofas mean that for every pound spent on non-food items in the UK, the company brings in revenue of around 3 pence. This has given Ashley an estimated net worth of £2.7 billion according to the Sunday Times. Let's take a look at how he did it. Ashley was born in September 1964 in Burnham, Buckinghamshire, in the southeast of England. He only gained one qualification at school, a C in economics, and did not thrive academically. His classmates at Burnham Grammar School described him as a dedicated but very average student. He later told his teachers that he would be a millionaire at the age of only 16, showing incredible confidence as a young man. Ashley started playing squash as a teenager and initially had ambitions to become a professional. An injury put play to that, which led him to become a squash coach. However, despite his injuries, a Sports Direct aide said he is still an excellent player. In 1982, Ashley turned to retail and took a £10,000 loan from his family, who mortgaged their bungalow, to open his first sports and ski shop in Maidenhead, 30 miles outside of London. After the success of his first shop, Ashley owned a number of others using investor money, which resulted in him owning 100 stores across the UK just 8 years after initially founding the company. However, the majority of Ashley's money does not come directly from retail. He started buying brands in the 1990s, purchasing Donné, sports retailer Lillywhites, and boxing brand Lonsdale. He focused on brands faced with financial difficulties, purchased them, and returned them to profit by restructuring. He would often buy last year's stock from suppliers and sell it at a discounted rate in his Sports Direct stores. This would entice buyers in who also saw the other brands the company owned. In 2000, Ashley reported his rivals to the Office of Fair Trading for fixing the price of replica football shirts after a meeting in the Northwest, where other retailers encouraged Ashley to increase prices. The report was successful and resulted in dawn raids by police and multi-million-pound fines for the offenders. Many of the Sports Direct rivals fixed the price of England's Euro 2000 shirts at £39.99 when they were widely available for only £25 elsewhere. The offenders paid a combined fine of over £16 million, but were allowed to continue selling the shirts to the public. Despite being a whistleblower, Ashley was seen as a newcomer to the sports retailing scene, and his rivals did not consider him to be a major threat. How wrong they were. In 2004, he purchased Carlton, Dunlop, Slazenger and Caramel to add to his growing stable of brands to restructure and become profitable. This became a major success for Ashley by selling his own brands in his stores. He increased profitability and could control the entire supply chain, unlike other rivals who relied on goods produced exclusively by third parties. Ashley also holds a number of stakes in other rival companies, including JD Sports and Debenhams. As one banker put it, Ashley likes to park his tanks on other people's lawns during the Sports Direct IPO. Ashley sold the majority of his shares in JD Sports in 2016, as Sports Direct prepares to bid for BHS, Philip Green's collapsed department store chain. Ultimately, the bid failed, and BHS went into administration with a loss of 11,000 jobs. In February 2007, Sports Direct went public with a value of £2.5 billion. Ashley himself made £929 million from the float, but only a few months later, the shares halved in value. In the same year, Ashley purchased Newcastle United Football Club for £135 million. In the early years of his tenure, he sat with the fans in the stands and drank pints. However, fans have turned against Ashley, who has attempted to sell the club on 3 different occasions. Ashley has also ventured into football in Scotland, purchasing a stake in Glasgow Rangers in 2014, but he later sold out in 2017. Ashley made his first foray into department stores, purchasing a 51% stake in the luxury retailer Flannels from founder Neil Prosser. Sports Direct later bought the remaining shares from Prosser in 2017 to give them complete ownership of the company and the 17 stores that they operated in the UK. Flannels has become the new driving force in the strategy of the company. More on that later. The purchase of Evans Cycles in 2017 from administration saw the company expand into the cycling industry, beating competitors Halfords and JD Sports to the deal. Ashley immediately closed 50% of the company's stores in order to keep them in business. He had also built a stake in struggling department chain Debenhams since 2014, with the aim of selling his sportswear in the retailer. When Debenhams later went bust in 2019, he lost over £150 million as the company was taken over by its lenders, wiping out all shareholders. Despite being wiped out at Debenhams, Ashley purchased department store House of Fraser for £90 million as part of a pre-pack administration deal. The move surprised many, but Ashley has an eye for a bargain. However, a year later, he's admitted to shareholders that House of Fraser was losing £1 million a week. The purchase had been a mistake, and it would take time to integrate the company into his portfolio. Ashley has used the department store to stock a number of his products, with analysts suggesting that the shops will just be used to flog Sports Direct products. A number of House of Fraser stores have also been converted to Flannels, bringing the number up to 43, gradually usurping House of Fraser, who traces its roots back to 1849. Flannels is aiming at a very different clientele compared to Sports Direct, with products skewed towards expensive logo-heavy brands aimed at younger consumers with disposable income. The chain is now the main driver of expansion, being the only division to report an increase in profits. In 2019, Ashley renamed Sports Direct Frasers in a bid to shift the company's bargain reputation and image. He also appointed Michael Murray, his son-in-law, who was initially hired to oversee real estate activities, was promoted to oversee business evolution, updating their stores and their layouts to house a number of more upmarket brands that the company have acquired in recent years. Murray was instrumental in the purchase of Sports Direct's £108 million headquarters in London, a move which will make the company more reputable to suppliers and attract top talents to help grow the business. He aims to build the Harrods of the High Street that includes UK fashion chain Jack Wills, which was purchased for £12.75 million. Murray, who met Ashley's older daughter while on holiday, has been focusing exclusively on Flannels and has been put in charge of the stores for the next few years. Ashley later announced that Murray would succeed him as CEO of Frasers in 2021, with Ashley moving into the position of chairman as the group transitions to attract younger clientele with expensive tastes. Murray is not currently an employee or director and currently acts as a consultant and has had a massive rise to the company. He has long held the idea that they need to evolve from Ashley's pilot high, sell it cheap model and catch up with rivals like JD Sports, who have stolen a march in the athleisure space. Whether Ashley realises that Murray is better suited to running the business, or he simply wants to be out of the limelight while continuing to control operations from behind the scenes, Murray will be focusing on attracting the likes of Nike and Adidas, who have shunned the brand in recent years. In 2020, Ashley came under fire trying to keep Sports Direct stores open during the UK lockdown as Boris Johnson's government ordered all non-essential shops to close. Ashley claimed sport was an essential activity, but he eventually agreed to shut. Despite Sports Direct's success, they are the biggest employer of zero-hour contracts, a flexible way of employing staff which gives them guaranteed work. They have been blamed for increasing inequality and sees employers avoid paying sick pay and holiday pay as well as overtime. They have also been accused of underpaying the minimum wage. Sports Direct carries out daily searches to ensure staff aren't stealing, with the time taken for the search deducted from their pay. One of his workers gave birth to a child at the company's main distribution hub in Derbyshire in the toilet, instead of going to hospital for fear of missing work. A parliamentary committee compared the working conditions as similar to a Victorian workhouse, and Ashley later admitted that the company's systems and practices had not kept up with the growth, and that changes were taking place. Even when it appears that Ashley is trying to share the success through a share screen for his workers, he sees it not as a benefit for staff, but a way to motivate them in order to achieve the best results. Ashley rarely gives interviews and hates public speaking, refusing to come before a parliamentary select committee to ask questions regarding Sports Direct's business practices. His failure to appear could have led to a prison sentence, but Ashley did eventually appear. However, his shifty nature and reluctance to answer showed how he hated the limelight. However, his behaviour has been questionable, having vomited in a fireplace at a company meeting in 2017 after allegedly drinking 12 pints of beer as part of a competition and arm wrestling with guests. Either way, Mike Ashley is one of Britain's most successful retailers who has defined much of the high street gloom to build a retail empire. He is again trying to turn around struggling brands and bring them under one roof, as he did when running Sports Direct. The aim to build the Selfridges of sport while high street retailers crumble around him is a bold one, but Sports Direct continues to attract customers and develop online offerings as stores closed during the pandemic. Under Michael Murray, the strategy of pilot high and sell it cheap will move to a more upmarket model, modernising the business and bringing it into line with both online and high street rivals. Ashley still holds 61% of the company and will remain an important figure during the current transition.